Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm the Gentleman and welcome to another episode of the Gentleman's Pixel Club. This game here, this is Frankenstein that was released back in 1984. A game by Colin Stewart released by PSS, and we are playing it on a ZX Spectrum recreated as ever on the MiSTer FPGA system. The Spectrum had a lot of platformers, and this one was probably one of the most unique ones it ever had. You controlled this mad scientist, and his job was to basically rebuild the monster. He was rebuilding Frankenstein, and this happens by collecting various bones across the level. But the key here is you've got to collect them in order. I'm stood having a look at the level at the moment, but the first one you need to collect is the skull. Then you have to collect the left torso, then the right torso, then the left hip, then the right hip, then the left leg, then the right leg. Once you've collected all those items, you can then go to the top of the screen, and there's a little green button that you push that basically brings the monster to life. This game is very different from a lot of platform games that you would experience if you've played them before. This was an era of Manic Miner. This was an era of Jet Set Willy. This was an era of games of that ilk where it was basically run, 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 jump. But Mr. Stewart, Colin Stewart, had a very, very different idea about how he was going to make this game. You cannot jump. You literally cannot jump. All you can do is move left, right, and fall. And jumping up there, I'm not jumping, I'm hitting the activate button. And what this means is when you're stood on a spring, you can hit the space button in this game to activate it, and you jump up. When you're stood over a pole, you can hit the space button and you slide down. But there is no jumping mechanism here. I've got this enemy coming towards me, and I have to activate the spring just in time so it doesn't hit me. And this game is built purely on time. You have to watch your timers. You've got to be really controlled about what you do. And the platforms are laid in a certain way where it's almost a maze, for want of a better word. A single screen maze, but a maze because you can only collect the objects in a certain order. You can walk over yellow items such as the hip bone and the two legs that you can see on the screen, but if you hadn't collected the right parts beforehand, you are not going to pick them up. You're faced against the monsters here, but you haven't got infinite time. On the top right hand side of the screen, very near where the monster is, notice the gauge. That gauge is slowly going up, and if that hits the right hand side, it is game over for you and there's nothing you can do. And this game, based on the mechanics of it, where you are literally walking left and right and hitting space to activate the springs or whatever it may be, time really isn't on your side. You may think it's on your side, but it's absolutely not. There are hazards in the way as well. You've noticed me touch the ice, or perhaps you've noticed me touch the ice, and when you touch the ice you basically slide along on it. So watch him there, he goes all the way to the left and the right. When he's sliding, be it to the left or the right, you have no control of your little man. He's going to complete the sliding on the ice whether you like it or not. And here I'm just on the ground floor trying to practice the timing to get myself to that last leg bone, the right hand leg bone. So if I jump up, I should be able to grab it now, go to the left or fall down, and then activate the spring and jump back up. So I'm going to use the spring now, jump up, go to the left and do it again. I did notice while playing this game that the Scion snake that you see going to the left and the right and the middle reminds me very much of one of the undersea monsters on Scuba Dive. Scuba Dive is another great game on the Spectrum. I thoroughly recommend it. And this game here I really recommend as well. What you're doing at the moment is you've activated Frankenstein. You know, you've activated the monster here, and you've now got to defeat him. So you go to all the effort of building him, and then you have to defeat him. And I've lost a life, and your lives, which I haven't mentioned so far, are indicated on the top left hand side of the screen. So I did have 3, I'm now down to 2. The block that I hit at them just now is a teleport block, so you touch the edge of it and you will teleport to the other side of those blocks. No activation is needed. That happens normally. And the challenge on this level is he's throwing these balls down at you, and when I've died again, when they hit the box on the bottom right hand side of the screen, I want you to take a careful look at the green arrow at the top. Wherever my man is, that arrow is going to move to. So If you stay still too long on the screen, you're going to be hit by the blocks, but you've got challenges like this green slime I'm walking over. So the ice makes you go fast, the green slime makes you go slower, and the only way you can get up these levels is by using the activate button to effectively propel yourself up on the spring. But you've then got the combination of the bad guys that are coming left and right, so it really is very careful timing that's needed. You've just seen the green arrow move, but I've managed to hit the switch and kill the monster. We then hit another screen and we start again. So collect the head to go forward, and then I need to collect the top left torso, which is on the platform below where I am now. Notice me skating on that ice, and it's all about timing. I'm in no control of what's going on when you hit something like that, and you're basically at the fear of the monsters here in terms of, are they too fast, are they too slow, and if you don't watch the speed, you're dead. You notice me walk over the right hand hip there. Can't pick it up because it's not next in the big scheme of things. If it allowed you to collect all the components in a random order, it would make this a hell of a lot easier. But this game is a really good fun game, and it's a challenging game as well. What looks so simple at heart is not a simple game. You've got to be really careful about what you do. What I don't think I've mentioned is if you look on the left hand side of the screen, just below the middle, there's a little blue exclamation mark. That is an electric shock, so when you touch that you get an electric shock, and it's quite a cute animation where your little guy, you can see his bones, he's effectively frying himself, and I suppose it's justice considering everything that you're doing to the monster here. But we're on our way to completing level 3. We've got two more legs to collect, because that was the wrong leg. When I walked over that, he didn't pick it up, and this is going to be an easy one to do because that pumpkin on the bottom left of the screen doesn't move the full spectrum of left and right, so we were very easily able to collect this. Haven't got time against me at the moment. The needle, which resets on every single level, is only about 3/4 full, so we should be able to make it all the way to the end of the level, hit the activate button, and we will then create the monster. We then move on to the next level. So this is level 4 at the moment. The falling ball has hit the ground. I'm teleporting to the right hand side of the block and rushing across to hit the activate spring. And look, the spring throwed me up too high there, and I jumped, and it allowed me to hit the enemy, not on the next platform, but the one above. And that was really unfair. So I thought at this point, I need to show a little bit more of the game. So what we're doing, we're fast forwarding the game. You can see the guy moving a lot faster than what he is, and my plan is to take this all the way up until that level that you have just seen, and then we will slow it down and play at normal speed. Some of you may have noticed that the graphic has changed, the infographic on the left hand side, and it now says Frankenstein, and this is a rebooted version. A few years ago, Mr. Stewart created another version of this game, essentially the same game, but it had far more levels. The current game that you're seeing being played at the moment has 50 levels. This version here has 66 levels, and it just makes a hard game, even harder, but the experience is obviously way more enhanced than what you've got. So we're nearing the end of level 3, and it looks a bit crazy when you look at going fast forward, and we do slow down in a moment's time because I want to get to the end of this level properly, and then we carry on the gameplay for where I lost my 3 lives. And 3 lives isn't very many to be playing this game. You've got all the difficulty of the monsters and the positioning, and it's a pain in the neck. Now, we've completed this level, and I want you to look very closely at the screen that I've put on the top left hand side. We're playing as normal, and we are on level 4, but level 4 is different. On this type of level where you have to kill the monster, and this is where the challenge really is, the unhidden challenge, the unknown challenge, the layout is random. So although you've got all these levels you're essentially working up on, and it's fun to do, the enemies, the teleports, the ice, the springs, everything is in a different position, and it's very easy to get yourself locked into a level where you go too far to the right, and because of the enemy position you cannot go back. you are going to lose a life. So we've effectively picked up where we left off, but we had success this time, and we've had a bit more success as well. So we have 3 lives at the moment. We only had 1 life when we hit the previous level, and all of this has changed again. So again, it's strategically having a look to see where I need to go next, which I'm doing at the moment. And I've got to basically go to the bottom right hand side to get the top left hand part of the torso, and then we can carry on building the monster. The stairs come into play in this level. They haven't really been used before, and this, I've got myself shocked there. Look at that little animation, that's so cute. The stairs are a little bit different here as well, because while you can go left and right, you can't jump, but you also cannot go upstairs, so you could easily get yourself trapped unwittingly. I have to time this carefully with this cannon. I've got to get myself electrocuted so that I have enough time to either hit the spring, because I'm not going to make it to the pole, or die. So the spring was the only valid option to do. We're working our way to get the right hand hip at the moment, so he's on the middle platform to the left. I go all the way down these stairs and drop that way, and it should be very easy to pick up, leaving the 2 feet in the way next. This game, well, it was an interesting game to play. I've played it before. Was I any good at it? No, I wasn't any good at it. And in fact, this gameplay is the furthest that I've ever got through the game. And part of me was thinking, this is going to turn into a unexpected, really long play video. It doesn't go as long as it could have done. I don't get all the levels because, it goes up to 50 levels and I get absolutely nowhere near that. But I only learned that it had 50 levels after I finished playing. I actually had no idea how many levels it had. I knew that there was a later version of this for the rebooted version. And if I remember correctly, there's a Spectrum emulator, because I love all things Spectrum, as a lot of you know, on the iPad and the iPhone by Jonathan Caldwell. And I believe the Frankenstein Rebooted was a game that you could pay for at one point on that, and it was an exclusive, perhaps an exclusive for a little while on that emulator. Great version of the game, really good version of the game, an enhanced version of this. I knew it was a bigger game, I didn't know how much, and just doing a little bit of research before we kicked into this game, it was to see, right, okay, how different is it? Yeah, it's got another 16 levels, because this only goes to 60. Another thing I was interested in, because I mentioned before the Scion sprite, and you've got a green version of it here, effectively on the on the 3rd platform from the bottom, that looks like it belongs in Scuba Dive. I wanted to see whether the gentleman who created this game had actually created Scuba Dive. No, he hadn't, but I say it just felt like it belonged there. There I died, and what I died on was I basically jumped up, and the spring that jumped me up hit the green arrow box that you can see on the top of the screen. And this was the first time that I realised that the arrow box can kill you when you touch it as well. So fortunately, I had a couple more lives so I can navigate this, but that is a new hazard that I wasn't expecting. If the spring from the level below the top level pushes you too much, you headbutt that spring, and it's game over. This level here, level 7, was a gentle pause to try and figure out what was going on, and it was only a quick step to the right, which I then realised the teleporters are not double anymore, and we'd seen the teleporters previously on the style of level that we had on every even level where you basically kill the monster, and with only one block they just teleport you to the next available block on the left or the right. There isn't a hole, and this looks a mess. This particular level looks a mess, but when I was playing it, I was thinking, actually, this is a little bit easier than some of the ones that we've done before. And yeah, I felt it was easier because I was getting used to the controls, but there was so many options available from a platform point of view. You could hit each item multiple ways. So yeah, this wasn't the challenge that I found, even though I never saw it before. You're getting used to the idea of the game, you're getting used to the controls that you've got around you, and as long as you keep an eye on the enemy movement, and time is a critical thing because it's easy to forget the gauge on the top right hand of the screen, you're going to be fine, hopefully working these way through. But lesson beware, or buyer beware, keep an eye on the springs, because they do push you up a little bit higher than the next level, and it's very easy, as you saw where I got myself killed on the previous level with the green arrow that indicates where the ball was going to hit as he falls down. You know, be a little bit careful on what you do. You don't want to be headbutting that, because it's going to be game over. This video was never going to be as long as what it is now. I know how long it goes on for. You do too if you've paid note at the length of the video before it kicks off. But I just found myself playing and playing this game. I could have stopped this after dying the first time round. You know, a lot of my videos, I try and keep around the 10-minute mark. But there was so much fun that was being had with this game. You know, I thought, now we're just going to carry on and on and on. And when I realised that these levels were random as well, every basically even level is random where you have to kill the monster, it just increased the fun, it increased the challenge. But there was a moment of, what the hell is this particular level? How am I going to navigate this? And when I saw the skull in the middle there for the moment, it was like, oh god. Didn't turn out as bad as it could have been, but there was definitely an oh god moment. But I reflect on games. I reflect as I play this, and not from a nostalgia point of view, but from a current point of view. Those of you that have been following the channel, you know once in a while I will do the odd Fortnite video where it's a skin demo. I know those are not very popular, and you know what, they've kind of ramped down, and it's been weeks since I last done one of those. And you know, you want to create content as a creator that people are going to enjoy, people are going to like. And I know it's not popular, not because of the dislikes, although YouTube have changed the way that likes and dislikes work at the moment. So if you dislike a video, you do not see as someone that hits a dislike how many dislikes it has, so it can't be dislike bombed, if that's a phrase or that's a particular saying. But as a creator, you get to see all of these, and there was not really any dislikes on them, but the views were not very high, so I've basically held back with doing those. You know, it's not appropriate for this channel. There might be the odd one or two in the future as we go, but they are certainly not the key focus. But the whole point is, I do play modern games as well, and one of the modern games that I've got, one of the modern games that I play, and I have played, is Deathloop. And I was reflecting while I was playing this. Deathloop is basically a game where you die, you start again, you basically replay the day, for want of a better word. I think I have put more time into making this video, if you combine the time of making this video and playing this game to get to the point of where we are, than what I have into the entire game of Deathloop. And this shows how much value for money these games give. Fortunately, on Frankenstein, when it's game over, as it was there for the life, well, not game over, but I lost a life hitting the yellow guy, the complete level doesn't reset, so I only had one bottom right hand leg bone to get. And where I've jumped up on that ice, the key there is to be facing the right way where you want to slide when you jump up, otherwise you're going to have all kinds of difficulty. But moving back, before we activate the monster, before we then fight him again on the next level, I want to reflect on Deathloop. And it's incredible where you've got games that are like, I've got a bonus life there, so I've got 2 lives, look at that. I probably need them with some of my game playing skill, although some of you are probably thinking, he's playing a little bit better than normal here. But hey ho, once in a while I can do okay. But Deathloop, yeah, this particular game, premium game, expensive game. And when you look at the value for money you get in that, and the value of money that I got playing this game, I think it's absolutely batshit insane that I spent more time on this. I've spent more time on an 80s game. I've spent more time on a game from 30 years ago playing it. And in all honesty, got more enjoyment from it as well. These games, these current games, they are cinema type experiences where you want to go through the experience. You know, you can restart very, very easy. Skill, strategy, you know, is part of it. But yeah, there's very little here. Where games like this, they require you to think. They require you to engage your brain. Nice little animation. I do like it when he steps on those electric bulbs. They engage you to think. They engage you to be careful with what you're doing, you know, appreciate the game that goes on. And when I think of the levels that we're watching here, where you've got the very carefully timed sprites, and that bat was a clever one. He looks higher than what it is, but he's actually on the level above me, so that if I jumped up to get the right hand torso, I would have been dead in the water there. So jump up again on the ice when that blue thing is a little bit out of the way. But yeah, when you look at the effort that designers have in going into these levels, for all the timers you need to make it a game that is, absolutely worth playing. And remember, while I'm playing this, I'm against the timer, so I've got the constant gauge going on the right hand side. There's a lot of skill that goes into this, regardless of the programming side, the level design and the people that create these levels. A lot of effort. And I'm not saying this because this is a great game that I'm having fun enjoying. It's a great spin on the platform games where you cannot jump, you can only activate to use the springs and the poles around you to navigate around the levels. Think of another game that I played, brutally hard, terribly hard, but Technician Ted. The levels on there were absolutely ridiculously hard. There was a lot of death when I played that game, and that game was way too hard for me. And they even created a Megamix version, which was probably even harder. Been even more years since I played this. But we're playing games here which have been well thought out, well created by the designers, in terms of we want to get the timing just right. We don't want people to be able to whip through these levels. While I've been rattling on about timing, I've been trying to divert your attention. Hopefully it's succeeded. Look at the timer on the top right hand side. That gauge is very nearly full. We are only on level 11, and I haven't been messing about on this level. I've been honestly trying to get to all the parts of the monster that I need, but we've had the hidden timer that's been slowly ticking away. So now it is a race to get my guy to grab the leg, the bottom right hand leg, right at the bloody bottom of the screen, because you're controlled in the order that you can pick these up, and then make it all the way back up to the top. And that gauge is very dangerously close at the moment. And if you look there on that spring, I nearly lost a life by hitting my head on the little blue chap. I've got 2 lives left at the moment, so we're racing away to get ourselves to this. But we have to wait. We have to wait for the green thing to complete its journey so we can try and make it, and then I fall and clash with it. So I'm now on my final life. I've got the gauge almost to the right. I'm the furthest I've ever been in the game, and it's game over because the gauge completed. But we got a high score of over 100 points, which is absolutely great. We hit 11 for level, and I did the best I ever have. I'm the Gentleman. This is Gentleman's Pixel Club. Hope you enjoyed the video.
Would you like to play again?
Hello there, just me. If you're a subscriber to this channel, thank you very much. If you're not a subscriber, then Merlin here would be delighted if you would consider subscribing. It would make him happy, it would make me happy. And if Merlin's happy, then everybody is happy. Thank you very much. Stay safe, take care, goodbye.